Yep. This,
of wisdom. Amun and Viyahta and Chief Amun is here with me today. Tonight, actually, it's tonight. It's April 15th, tax day for all you slaves out there. I don't do that anymore, so I can laugh about it. But welcome to everyone to Guardians of Wisdom. And we're here to talk about a very important subject, and that is truth. There are so many people who are confused about what that word truth means. And Chief Amu is going to share with us the journey he's been on and the experience he's been having. And I think you know what, Chief, we're having the same experience. I've been talking to people who don't have a clue what truth really means, and they're confused about what it means. And I even have a woman who has started a series of podcasts called Truth is Truth. And she comes on and tells everybody what truth is. And I'm like, I don't think everybody's so insane on feeling that truth thing. So, Chief, tell us what you've been hearing and seeing about the confusion and out there and how we can actually bring some peace and understanding and clarity to this subject tonight. And thank you all for joining us tonight. So, Chief, go ahead.
greetings to everybody. How y'all doing?
Good.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hello?
Yes,
You
we
can hear
can
me?
hear you. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, so we chose this topic, and I think we need to talk about this topic a lot. I was invited into a TikTok forum with a brother. It was some of our Jamaican brothers and sisters, and I mean the level of consciousness that was in the room, I was like, it was somewhat depressing. I just, you know, when you're around like very intelligent people and very spiritually in tune people for a long time, you tend to think that the rest of the world is like that. You see, and I was shocked and I was somewhat disappointed, but I guess it brought me back to reality that some of our people are still stuck on Christianity, and not only Christianity, but a lot of our people are still stuck on show and prove, but in the way, like, asking for empirical evidence, which you cannot fit certain spiritual experiences and spiritual intelligence inside of empirical evidence, which is limited to the concept of this particular culture known as, if you want to say, American culture or Western civilization. And the educational system and how they educate the people and how to discover truth is a big issue. Our brothers and sisters are still caught up in that. I'm not saying that it doesn't have its category. It doesn't have its importance. However, it's a part of a larger uh, the larger scheme of things. We talked about last time that correct information um, wisdom and understanding are three of the major attributes that you have to have that would uh, structure your mind into a way where you have divine reasoning, or some people call sound right reasoning, or that leads to sound right reasoning. Without correct information, or should I say knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, it's no way you will be able to reach a state of divine reasoning. And even then, divine reasoning is has three attributes: experience, evidence, and reasoning. Okay. But these three attributes still are lacking. They're still lacking. They have to be guided by spirit or the higher self or inner divinity. And the beautiful part about that is, it's nobody on the planet that's not in contact with their inner divinity. Nobody. Everybody's in contact with the inner divinity. Um, have heard that voice that tells them you shouldn't have done this, or you need to do that, or this or that, or whatever it may be. You always had that guidance inside of you, that inner voice. And I'm talking about the voice that is never wrong, no matter what. No matter what, you're never wrong. Um, so our people are not really trying to build a relationship with that almighty power that some people call Ramasedi, which translates as like the Almighty God or something in English. But people are not trying to build a relationship with that, and it's because they don't have faith and belief. Not in the sense of having faith and belief in a false God, but having faith and belief in yourself, in that inner connection that you have. When you have that, you can strengthen that. And once you strengthen that, that voice gets louder and louder and louder. If that voice is never wrong, called the voice of intuition, then we also can use that voice when it comes to science, such as mathematics, physical science, chemistry, physics, history. That's a big one right there, history, because that's something that our people know very little about. And there's many traps to history too. You cannot go backwards to discover history. The elders teach you have to start at that point that you're looking for and move forward in time. That would allow you to see the inconsistencies, the different tricks that the Eurocentric Europeans have made against our people by creating false history. It lets you see all the error clear as day. But when you're on the other side of the wall, it's hard to see that. Going from now backwards in time, it's just too many discontinuities. So you have to tap into the higher self. And this is another thing. When we're talking about this, we like to talk about things, and everything we talk about, we have an application behind it that you can take this and you can utilize in your own home. You see? So we have practices that you can actually do to build that relationship with your inner divinity, or to build that relationship with your higher self or the first self, so that instead of reaching that dead end where empirical evidence would take you, or what they call cross references. Oh, they have it right here. It's defined as, this is what empirical evidence is: information gathered through direct observation, measurement, or experimentation. It forms the basis of scientific investigation and is used to support or refute a hypothesis or claim. In essence, it's the real world data that scientists use to understand how things work. That's a very, very limited ideology or concept or definition for a word if we're trying to fit us and everything about us, the entire paradigm of Black people, who and what we are, all of our spirituality, the different things that happen spiritually to different people, the different experiences. You're not going to be able to use empirical evidence to prove the existence and the validity of your experiences. So you have to go to a higher source, which is the ultimate source. And that, just like this empirical evidence and the different aspects of it and the methodologies that they use to prove things to be true, you also have a higher inner methodology where you can also prove things to be true without using any kind of empirical evidence. You see that? So our people are falling victim more and more of trying to take Western education to validate universal culture. You can't do it. You can't do it. And what happens is when you can't do it, they throw universal culture away. You see that? So a lot of our people fall victim to that, and that's something they got to stop. You got to stop doing that. You see that?
Yeah, and
I
and,
think
and
my
one of
voice is.
the no, you're on point. Intuition you mentioned. The three words you mentioned: knowledge, wisdom, and understanding are the three pillars in the Hebrew studies and tradition that are in Hebrew go da'at, kokma, and bayina. So there, when you get to a certain level of studying the Hebrew letters and the language, those are the three pillars that everything stands on: wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. So I'm glad we're starting out with a basic foundation of what truth is all about. You have to have the knowledge, the wisdom, and understanding, and what we sometimes say, understanding. Because, see, I think what you're saying is that we've been so distracted in Western education, Western teaching, especially with Jesus. I was invited to a conference call where all he was talking about Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. You need a savior, Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. And I'm like thinking, but the kingdom is within. And if you're gonna keep talking about that Jesus, 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 especially the blonde haired, blue eyed on the wall that so many of us have seen in our childhood, if you're going to keep talking about that, you're going to miss the truth because the kingdom is within. So I think that's where you're going, and I'm totally with you. And the fact that you talk about empirical evidence, well, information gathered by direct observation. Half the population ain't observing nothing. All they doing is listening to programming on television. So if you don't turn the
And
TV
some
off, there we go. So yeah, let's talk about it. And we got a lot of people in the house, so thank you all for being here. Go ahead.
So I like what you said when you talked about observation. That's a problem too. You can have two people looking at the same thing, and one could actually see what it really is, and the other one can't, even though they have their physical eyes open. And it's because of how they are aligned and the state of mind that each one of these people are in. That's what people have to understand. Just because you see something doesn't mean that you understand what you're looking at. You see, some people have tried meditation. They have seen sparkles of light, shadows walking, and they interpreted that as, oh, that's just a figment of my imagination. That's my mind playing tricks on me because I'm sitting in the dark. Other people know exactly what it is, and it's validated not by them per se, objectively, but subjectively by their own inner self, the Almighty, who is responsible for all earths, all moons, and all suns. You see that? So our people have to they have to take it a step further. And we talked about the exercises that you can do, mental exercises where you can actually exercise that relationship that you have with your inner being. That's in the book Black Science, where it talks about when you have to make a decision in life, whether to, any kind of daily activities. Um, you're going to go to the store. You got to pick up a few items, but you also got to stop by someone's house. Stop and wait and listen. When you're meditating in the dark, all the lights turned off, you can't see. So instead of the mind going this direction out, it goes in. It forces the mind in when you're in meditation. So the dark, you become the dark. You see that? Everything turns inwardly at that point. Now, when you meditate a lot, and then you come out of this meditation out in the world, and you got months and months and months and months and months of meditation, your mind is more balanced because now you're participating in the outside, but you're also looking in at the same time. So it's like this. You're coming across things. It's like you're waiting for your first self or your higher self to guide you. Do I really need to buy this from the store or do I not? Where do I need to go first? The store or to the person's house? Or should I go to the person's house before first and then go to the store second? But back to the exercise, if you had to make a choice between two things, you can write down the event. It's Monday. I need to go to the store and to the friend's house. My inner being told me such and such, such and such. You name it as inner being or first self, that voice. And then you say, myself said such and such, such and such. You talk about what you did despite what that voice told you to do. Did you listen to the voice and move forward with the guidance of the voice, or did you just do what you want to do? And sometimes you can write down what happened, because a lot of times when you don't listen to that voice, you end up getting knocked upside the head. You see? And
Yeah,
we all got knocked upside the head.
Yeah, how many times you heard people say, I should have done what I thought, what came to me the first time?
I heard a lot of people say that. A lot of people say that. And
listen to that first intuition.
They don't know, they don't understand how, because another thing you have to understand is in school, how we approach things to find out, to validate a thing or find out truth is very limited. You know, a lot of people need to start. If you say you're a Christian, if you're gonna go to church, try to take your spirituality in church and apply it to your scientific work, to the scientific world. Try to make all this stuff practical. You talk about how God bless you, and you know, if it wasn't for God, you wouldn't have this. Well, help, you know, reach out to God to explain like mathematical formulas to you, which direction to go in, what the process is when you're in the laboratory. You see what I'm saying? Because the same should apply. Talking about these cities, like they talk about Area and Atlantis and all these ancient civilizations. These people were fully tapped in. The spiritual part of them and the physical part was totally integrated as one thing. It was totally integrated. So you didn't have no separate categories. That's why I used to ask college professors this question. I used to say, can you prove the scientific method with empirical evidence that spirit and soul is real? You know what they tell me? Well, you know, I don't mix my religious life with my scientific life. I don't do that. How you gonna be two different? You ain't two different people. You're one person. You can't ignore one without looking at the other. You can't look at this side without looking at that side. You have to be able to integrate all this stuff, or you have to admit to yourself that you live in a lie. That's what you have to admit to yourself. But our people have to stop following these ideologies and these and the mindset that was instilled within them of, you know, using these methodologies that they learn in school to prove the existence of things. I can't sit here and tell you that an entity visited me while I was doing meditation. I can't do that. I can't do that and tell you and use empirical evidence. How you gonna think inside of my meditation experience? However, you can use your own intuition to validate whether that person was telling the truth or whether they wasn't telling the truth, or was it a delusional episode, or did something really visit them? You can actually tap into your own spirit, the all-knowing, and find out what this person is saying is true or not. And y'all do it unconsciously when you come across people that speak in truth and you feel inside of yourself what they're saying is right and exact. You see that? So that's extremely important. That would stop all the confusion between Hebrews, the Wahabians, Nation of Islam, and all these other people. It'll stop all the confusion. Well, I believe, well, brother, how do you prove? Where you get your evidence from? They're so limited. That's using less than 1% of your intelligence. You think it's intelligence, but it's stupidity. Why, in other words, you got other entities throughout the universe can be 50,000 light years away, and they can see what's going on this planet, or know what's going on in your life, or know and see visions of what's going to happen in your life. You cannot use so-called scientific methodologies to prove whether that is true or not. You can't do it. So there's higher universal principles and methodologies And there's sciences or higher sciences, what they call spiritual, or no, they call it spiritual technologies, in which you can utilize to tap inside of yourself and find out these things. It's a totally greater world out there, 100%. You just experiencing 0.00001% of it by using this dumb stuff. It has its place, but it's incomplete. That's what I want to say.
And I think it's important to have healthy conversations. For instance, when you say someone tells you they saw entities, blah, 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 and you might ask, well, what does that mean to you? Or what was that like? Because I think when people make a statement, it needs to be elaborated. Because what comes out of people's mouths sometimes, you might think, well, I don't believe that. But if that person keeps talking, you're going to know eventually from your own intuition, I believe, whether this is true or not. But if they just make one statement and then you don't continue the conversation, then there's a lot missing in our understanding, knowledge, and wisdom. I had a conversation tonight with my 8 and 10-year-old grandchildren. Blew my mind, just blew my mind. And it was about this young man in Texas who stabbed another guy and killed him. 17-year-old. You probably heard about it.
Yep,
And
I heard
I
about it.
asked my grandchildren their opinion, and they just blew my mind. Just blew my mind. It was so mature what they said. And I'm like, okay, I think you got emotional intelligence here. That was I was trying to teach them about emotional intelligence and knowing how to respond in difficult situations, and thinking about with your intellect whether your response is going to put you in jail, send you to prison for life, or whatever. With your intellect, we have to stop and pause when we have situations that are difficult. For instance, the bullying that went on. I'm going to do a show about this Friday because it's so deep in so many ways, because people are supporting this young man and saying he defended him. My grandchildren were like, no, well, why you got a knife? Why did you need a knife? They came up with some statements that I'm like, my 8 and 10-year-old grandchildren are saying this. So I'm just saying, if you don't have healthy conversations with people, you're going to miss out on the truth. Because here's what the Most High Spirit, we're talking about how Spirit validates truth. Spirit will reveal truth or lies when people open their mouth. That's how I see it.
Mm-hmm.
Just keep talking. You just let somebody keep talking. And eventually, if you got consciousness, discernment, knowledge, you're going to say, okay, this is an idiot. Or this person is very ignorant. Or this person needs me to respond in a certain way to maybe help them have understanding and truth. But in my experience, if you don't have healthy conversations, you're going to miss out on the truth, because people will let you know where they are. The more they talk, the more they share, as long as they don't get angry and upset and start cursing. Once they start cursing, you're going to lose. Then right there's some truth missing in their emotional intelligence, because what does cursing do to develop truth?
I don't speaking correctly actually helps to strengthen a certain area of the brain versus speaking in slang. It actually weakens a certain area of the brain, and it also makes it hard for us to learn other languages. You see, it makes it very difficult. But if you're dealing with the energies in language, yes, cursing does bring a lot of negative energy. There's a lot of negative energy connected with it. And so speaking, when we talk about civility and things like that, that's extremely important. That's actually one of the classes I'm putting together. Dealing with morality, social science, and etiquettes, and all those different types of things that our people are like. We no longer know how to greet one another. A brother, they don't know how to speak to one another. You see that? uh, don't know how to look at one another. Brothers don't smile at each other no more. So that's something that
Why?
comes with
Why is
culture,
that?
which is what we're putting together right now. Go ahead.
Why do you think that's happening, that we are not looking each other in the eye and not greeting each other with love and respect? What do you I mean, what do you think is
Because of the
happening?
culture that's being pushed. Oh, because of the culture that's being pushed by what they call hip hop and rap. It has spread it so much. It's almost like if you don't have a tattoo, then you're missing something. Then why do I have to put that poisonous ink in my bloodstream? Why do I have to have a tattoo? Why do I have to say certain things? And now the children nowadays that are in high school, they see, if you're gangster, like, that means that you're powerful. They identify power in that. So to speak incorrectly, or the type of slang that they speak, that also correlates with power. Sagging correlates with power. Oh, that's somebody you don't want to touch. That's somebody that don't play that. He's sagging, he a thug or whatever. We better stay away from him or whatever. But what they're really doing is destroying themselves, because the way you wear your clothes can actually affect your posture. You see that? The language, how you speak language, can actually affect the way you think in your brain. Certain words that you use can bring certain negativity, to you. With all that's going on in the world today, we don't have time to, you know, but that's why we have to keep building and building and building in the movement that we have going on in our organization. You see that? And we got to be more organized. And this organized organization has to filter all the way into the roots of our families. You see, it can't be like you only organize when you go to work. Oh, you got yourself together at work. They gave you plaques, they gave you medallions, they give you all these different trophies and things like this. But when you go home, your house in a mess. Nobody know each other. Everybody arguing with each other. You got processed food in the refrigerator. You need to clean up, etc., etc., etc. And people really do feel like that they're accomplishing something. No, the accomplishments is the opposite. It's the other way around. You have to make sure that your home is structured and that your whole family is in harmony. And the only way that it will remain in harmony is you're spiritually rooted. You see, and some people don't understand what spiritually rooted mean, because they're trying to identify with character. They think I'm talking about characteristically. I'm not talking about character. I'm not talking about a specific religion. I'm not talking about Islam. I'm not talking about Christianity. I'm not talking about Judaism. I'm not talking about Buddhism. I'm not talking about those things. Spirit transcends names and places and things, because the Most High is all. You see that? So it's just that the methodology that you have, can it realign you with the Most High within yourself? That's the question. If it can't, then you need a different methodology. The one we have works. It works. You see? So observing a thing, knowledge, wisdom, understanding, which leads to divine reasoning, which is governed by experience, evidence, and reasoning, and all this empirical, this and that, all these different forms of reasoning falls under that second stage, which the first stage, knowledge, wisdom, understanding, and then the second stage is reasoning, experience, and evidence. And the first that well, I should say the third, but it should be the first that governs all this is your higher self. You have to be completely aligned with that. That means that the light, or that divine light within you, has to be able to shine completely in every cell of your body, because there's intelligence in every cell of your body. How do you know that? Because intelligent things go on in your body, in your toes, those big toes that people laugh at. Inside of those toes, you have cells. There's a lot of some things that scientists can't even comprehend that's going on in your big toe. The way cells speak to one another, the way they communicate with one another, the way they work together harmoniously, and the capability of a cell, how it draws in nutrients and processes these nutrients. You see that? How it processes hormones. It brings hormones in that gives it, to tell it what to do. How the mitochondria DNA operates, the fuel that it uses to process, so that you will stay alert, that you will have the energy that you need to move through life. So a lot of incomprehensible things that the body that goes on in the body that the Western scientists don't understand. But because there's people in enlightened societies that have included God in the equation of their scientific paradigm, they have the ability to understand all things because God is in the equation. And I'm not talking about some religious Christian God. I'm talking about the Most High within you, your divine essence within you. You see that? So it's in order to have that type of uh, house or temple, such as the body, and so that this Most High or this light can dwell in comfortably, we have to make sure that we are observing universal culture. What comes with universal culture? It's a way of life. What's going on in your life? What are the principles of your life? Sleep, relaxation, diet, proper thinking, concentration, remembrance of the Most High, communicating with your ancestors, etc. You see that? Or your body will always remain dim. You won't have any black light shining in you. You won't have it. And we say black light because all energies combined as one, just like color is black. Black is the unmoved mover, the supreme, a supreme state of being, or what they call supreme balancement. You see that? And all states come out of black. It's the unmoved mover. It's the prime. You see that? So we have to, and some people are already doing this. Some people are already doing this. They're already doing these meditative practices. Take this stuff into your physical science classes and stuff and watch what happens. If you do, if you just look some stuff up for some of y'all that need that extra, a lot of these scientists or people that came like George Washington Carver, he invented all those things. He was one of the greatest scientists ever in history. You know where he got all the secrets? He used to walk out there and let the trees and the flowers and stuff talk to him. He could hear them talking, speaking inside of his mind. He was an antenna receiving that. You see that? And he was very focused. If you look at these people lifestyles, they were very dedicated people. They wasn't doing stuff. They wasn't their antenna wasn't getting interrupted by negative energies. You see that? Getting in a car, playing all that dumb demonic music, or putting processed foods in the body, or eating all throughout times of the day, which cause conscious dullness. Because the mind is connected to the stomach. You see? So the brain can't even operate at its highest pinnacle because of everything that people are putting in the body, as well as what people are putting in their mind through what they're listening to or what they're watching. You see? You have to make this your life. If you don't, you ain't gonna make it. You can forget it. Everybody got to be a monk, for lack of better words.
To evolve, in order to evolve.
To truly evolve, to truly grow, you have to be a monk. You have to be about what you talk about. And you're going to stumble. It's not about that. You understand? Stumbling is not a mistake. It's a learning lesson. There's really no such thing as a mistake. Everything is a learning lesson. So you're going to fall. See, the wise ones don't look at the fall. They look and see, are you going to get it back up and then just keep going? That's what they look at. Are you going to lose faith in yourself? I ain't talking about Christian faith in some fake God. I'm talking about faith in you. Faith and belief is very powerful if it's faith and belief in you and a true essence within you. You see that?
Yeah, in 2025, every adult has a cell phone, right? And so it's a conscious, if you want to evolve, you got to put your cell phone down, right? And that means you have to you have to miss out on certain information that you're used to getting every day, because that cell phone provides not just information but entertainment. I mean, we get entertainment all day long on the cell phone, right? Babies and children, and I pick up my phone sometimes, I'm like, wow, and then I find myself 20 minutes later I'm still being entertained. Okay. And then you have to get a distraction, like a bee coming in. That's what I have. I think I've told people this. This wasp comes in my house every day almost, or he was. and it's knocking on the ceiling. I'm like, what? Okay. Oh, and then I know, just like George Washington Carver, you mentioned him a lot. He knew the peanut had more in it than just peanut butter. That man took that peanut and made, I don't know how many things out of peanut butter, out of that peanut. And he was always hearing from nature. So the power of nature to influence our evolution and help us become authentic self, because we lose our authentic self in infancy because of our dysfunctional parents. I don't think there are any perfect parents. So at some point we got to realize, if we're struggling with what Chief is saying today, it may have something to do with the early childhood experience you had. I had a guy write me from prison recently, and I knew this man. He's now 56 years old in prison. It's his second time in prison for rape. Okay, important lesson for me and I told my family. But I knew him when he was 5 years old because I used to babysit for him when I was in college. His mother was a single parent, and I babysat for him. So I got to know this little boy. I just loved this little boy. Fast forward 56 years later, he writes me this letter and tells me that I wrote him and reminded him that his mother and I never got hugs from our mothers. We were deprived children in the sense of nurturing was lacking from our mothers. And some of us had absent. My father was very strong, but my mother never hugged me. Don't remember much kissing, hugging. So got into a lot of promiscuity, a lot of some addictions, and just behavior that was not developing my authentic self. But by the grace of the Most High, Spirit came along in synchronistic fashion, introducing me to people and things that said, it's time for you to change. So that you're saying, empirical evidence, forget it. That's you. If you're having a discussion with somebody and that's all they can talk about, it's like, no, 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 no. There's more to it. There's nature. There's the brain power that talks to your gut. This brain here is a command center for the kingdom within, that talks to your gut, where that has trillions of microbes in it, and instructs your microbes what they need to be doing at any moment. Like you mentioned, hormones. Okay, hormones, you need to do this. But if your command center is confused about your childhood, your parents didn't love you, what this person in prison ended up telling me, he hated himself because his mother was always beating up on him when he was 3, 4, 5 years old. His mother was beating him, beating him, beating him, beating him. And he developed a self-hatred that in later years, it was triggering him to rape 2 women and put him in prison. But he's now in a place because of this knowledge of himself. Like we said, knowledge of self from infancy and on, wisdom and understanding about why you are doing the things you're doing. That's what's going to bring us to evolve and become the chiefs of the world, the goddesses of the world. That this knowledge that we need of ourself and where we've been, where we are now, put down the phone, as Kendrick said, turn off the TV and get into meditation. Because if you're not the monk that Chief said we all need to be, you're going to be struggling and be in confusion and misunderstanding and lacking knowledge and perish. Lack of knowledge, my people, perish and they die because they don't have the knowledge. Understanding. We're here tonight to help us all develop more understanding first, because that's where it starts. All this with the intellectual conversation about the empirical evidence, blah 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 blah, and science, blah 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 blah. You don't know the inner energy that's guiding you, and nature, the bees, the birds, and all of those. I had 4 crows show up the other day. I keep my door open because I can, and I have a screen. 4 crows were. Have you know how crows sound? They're the
Yeah.
noisiest, irritating creatures on the planet, but they got my attention. And I'm like, what is with these crows? And it was right before my show on Sunday where I talked about flax seed gel. And I realized a day later why those crows showed up, because the meaning of the crows was something about creative understanding or something. I forget. When I looked it up, I'm like, oh, the crows mean this, this, and this. And the flaxseed gel has become my message for the world now, because flax is also linen. The flax plant is what they make linen garments out of, which vibrates at the highest vibration. So you can now nourish yourself with flaxseed oil. You can put it on your hair and get nourishment in your head and over your head. Take off the wigs, ladies. Put some flax gel on you. And then you can also wear the linen clothing and be fully empowered. Now those crows were out there making all that noise just before I saw a video about that. And now I realized they were getting my attention about the knowledge, the wisdom and understanding about this one plant that the creator has given us to help us evolve, help us nourish our body, our hair, our inside and out. This is the most powerful, one of the most powerful plants on the planet is the flax. Because you could live on that plant just eating the seeds. We eat the seeds. In fact, my friend and I were saying we eating the seeds every morning. I grind up flax seeds and put them in my smoothie every morning. Now I just finished putting the gel. I made some gel and put it on my granddaughter's hair to get the kink, to get the kinks, not the kinks, but the tangle out, and to give her a deep conditioning. All that because the crows got my attention.
Oh my God. Okay.
That's my testimony.
Well, we want to. We're having a lot of classes on a lot of things that you were talking about on Clubhouse. Do you have a Clubhouse?
I do. I
Okay.
do.
Okay. I don't know if you've been in our
I
classes.
do, but you know what? Because I'm doing YouTube and all the things I'm doing, I just have to shut off things, and I can't hear listen anymore. At some point, I just can't have conversation anymore. I'm in meditation. I live alone for the most part until my grandchildren come in. I love being by myself. I really do. I learn more about me and the Most High and nature, and I'm starting a garden now. So Clubhouse, I went on there a couple of times, and it was just too much chatter for me. I just couldn't handle it.
Yeah, well, it's actually too much shadow for me as well, and that's why if you were to come in our classes, you won't see a lot of disdain and
Yeah,
chaos.
yeah, and that's
Okay.
nice. But I'm on YouTube at night. At the end of my day, I want to learn something new, and I go on YouTube, type in what I want to learn, and then of course you have all those other video shows. I say, oh, I need to learn that too, and so I'm on there just in university, YouTube University, learning about whatever is showing up, whatever's showing up, and then I might go to Netflix and watch a documentary. I do not like all the shows on Netflix, but I love to learn about history and things that I didn't know before now. And they documentaries, they have some really good documentaries on Netflix. So that's kind of my lifestyle. And then I don't really want to be in more conversations. But I love being here with you and sharing and hearing from our community here. But when I went on Clubhouse, I'm like, oh, and this one particular one, everybody was talking at once, and I'm like, how they learning anything on here when everybody's talking at the same time and over talking? And so Clubhouse is just one of those. And I'm on TikTok a lot now because with TikTok,
They
here's
don't
what
care nothing
happens.
about learning.
Here's what happens with TikTok. You share something, for instance, about flat. I've been sharing about linen garments and the dangers of polyester. I had 500 people listen to that video. I'm like, whoa. And so my friend and I, we compare what we share and how many people are checking in and listening. you get such a huge number of people listening to whatever you or looking at whatever you post. I don't know how, but TikTok, it's like a magnet. You attract on that site people from all over the world who are interested in whatever you're posting. So you need to be very conscious about what you're posting on TikTok if you want to change or influence this invite the world even, because a lot of people are attracted to whatever you put on TikTok. That's why we can thank Trump for saving that thing. Trump had a whole different business attitude about saving Trump. You're making a lot of money on Trump on TikTok, blah blah blah. But the universe, in my opinion, knew that this is a very influential tool to enlighten people and attract people to whatever you're saying. So you got to be consciously aware of this tool is very helpful to get your message out to a lot of people. So a lot of people know now about how polyester is toxic. And so every day I'm like, okay, what? And so anytime you put something on my Facebook page, if it's enlightening, if it's inspirational, if it's going to help people evolve, oh, got to go to TikTok, put it on there, and then I've got 500 people who just watched this. I'm like, whoa!
I was messing with TikTok today. It's a brother. I got a Jamaican brother. He trying to set me up with TikTok, but he invited me to a forum on TikTok, and I mean it was. I mean they miles and miles behind, when it comes to information. But hey, so I went on there and we all sip from the chalice of wisdom a little bit, but a lot of people just wasn't ready for that, and I just don't have time to, you know, to I just don't have time to talk about to tell somebody the spirit is real and soul is real. It's that bad that some people do not even believe that soul and spirit is real because they have dedicated their lives to Western education. And if they don't teach it in school, in the history books, if they don't teach it in the science books and mention anything about spirit or soul, then it's a figment of your imagination. You see? And I never met people that were that far behind. And but we did break bread, and after that I left kind of swift because I got other things to do. But
Okay.
yeah,
So
so
we are recognizing every day people who don't have the same like mind that we have, which is a good thing, because then you move to the next level of, I'm saying TikTok is replacing everything else in my mind, because I was on Blog Talk Radio for a while, 11 years, but I didn't reach half the people I'm reaching on TikTok. And I'm on Instagram and I'm on Facebook, and I think I have 500 people on Facebook. But when I do, every time you post something on, and you don't need to be maybe, Chief, in a conversation with other people on TikTok. You need to do you. You need to put your signature out there, whatever your signature is that people are gonna go link into TikTok with, whatever that might be. Chief Amun of Great Wisdom. So that's your address. And then you start putting up posts that the Most High guides you, that Spirit guides you, people need to hear. And you just start posting. And then the key that I learned, I did a teaching video on YouTube about TikTok. You need to interact with people. You don't have to be face to face, but if somebody likes your post, you say, "Hey, I think," and you say, "Thank you." That's an interaction. Then you're going to keep interacting with people in a very minute way. Check, send a wave, blah blah blah. And then that's how TikTok develops for you your message, is that you're interacting with people. More people are going to see your post. Next thing you know, you got 10,000 people following you. I had a woman on my show Friday, Christina Raymond. She posted something about using borax for instead of root canal therapy. She got 800 people signed up on after posting one little post. People were so interested in that topic. That's why I really believe this is TikTok is something really divine in a way because it's just so quick to attract people, like-minded people now. People are not going to be listening and liking what you do unless they think like you and they need or want what you got. So think about if you're going to doing TikTok, but as an individual messenger of spirit that is out, is in this to influence and lift people up and just post every day things that the Most High guides you to put on there, you're going to attract a lot of people. And I believe we're going to change more people with this method than we have in the past. Even on YouTube, we have a lot of our family show up on YouTube, and then if the algorithm is right, if the WHO allows this our information to get out, we might attract more people. But for some reason, I think TikTok doesn't have as much of the censorship. It has a little bit because there are some rules that you got to follow and all that, but there's a lot less censoring of what you're putting up. I posted something about Bill Gates that would normally probably wouldn't even pass YouTube standards or whatever. And it flew. People are reading it and then, oh, I didn't know that. I didn't know that. I'm telling you, give it a try because these are very crucial times to, like we're saying, promote truth and help people understand what truth really is. So you want to hear from some of our
Yeah,
wow
I
time.
agree. I'm actually setting up TikTok.
Okay, you
Yeah,
are.
yeah, let's hear from some people. Yeah, we can do that.
Okay, let's thank you all for being here because it was a last kind of a last minute, but Keith and I kind of roll with spirit. Spirit tells us to do something. All right, let's do it. Let's get it going. Let's do it. We don't hesitate. So we've got Kirby, peace to the room. Thank you, Kirby, for being here. David Jenkins, Dumalang, and peace and greetings. Thank you, David. And we got Renovik Ra, greetings, peace, and love. The music. Oh, good. I'm glad we chose that one. I see ya. Oh, that was me, I guess. I see ya. True Black Light Media. That that's you. We were communicating earlier. Okay, we see each other. We do see each other. Peace and greetings from Christy Edwards. Denise Garraway, greetings. Abdul Haq, peace all, thank us, thank you. Godly expression, peace, peace. All this peace. I'm feeling the peace tonight. Greetings, all ambitious brute. We got Rashun Staby. Is that it? Peace family. We got Christy Edwards. I've said that many times. So that's a ashe for all of us. Amen. Wesley Gray says peace and love. Mo Ali, is it peace? And Yanni Lynn, because they conditioned division. They still doing it big time. If you watch CNN, NBC, if you watching all that those mainstream media, that's all about division and misinformation, and definitely not truth. So thank you for reminding us that we have been conditioned to be divided, especially in the black community. There ain't no unity in the black community. And as I said, part of it because they wearing too many wigs on the heads that the brain is not functioning with those wigs. And glue, I can't believe I watched so many videos about wigs, how they do these wigs. How you gonna think straight with glue in your on your head? I don't know who's not think. Mental imbalance is what's happening. That's why we're divided because we ain't thinking straight with glue on our forehead and our head. That glue is going through your brain to your brain. Hello, don't get me started. Sarah Edwards, Ashe family. Yes, Sarah, thank you for being here. Black Root Science, peace, God. Yes, yes, yes. Peace, God. We got a lot of peace gods and peace, God. Oh, we back. We're okay. Black Root Science, Godly Expression. Yeah, Denise Garraway, this conversation is so interesting. Thank us. Thank us. Because Chief and I are hearing from the same spirit. I think we're in unity because of our meditation time and turning off the damn TV and putting the phone down at least, most of the day, at least at night. How many of you all turning off your phones at night? And I'm starting to put it in the other room, in the bathroom, away from me. I don't even want it near me. Turn it off and get it as far away from you as possible. Christy Edwards said, I've been hit by a lot of things said, but I am working on me. A lot of work. So put this on your mirror. Fly. First love yourself. FLY. First love yourself. That's how we operate. And Denise Garraway says also a lot of self-healing and awareness. Absolutely, absolutely. Because we all had very imperfect parents. And I know my parents were very critical. And I'm still trying to control my criticism with my family. I'm like, especially my grandchildren, they went through a divorce at a very young age. And I try and withhold criticism because they were damaged in that divorce emotionally. So we can be sensitive. But I grew up with criticism. I thought that was something natural. But here we are. Christy Edwards, that's the one of the biggest pieces of work I'm doing. Fly. Yes, keep working on it. We're here to help you and support you. And Denise Caraway says, I am conscious of my divine self. Hallelujah. I know the Most High is a part of me and that we are not separated. And I would say you are the Most High. There's a brother, Elitam Elamine. He's a solitarian, breatharian. He doesn't eat anything. He's in Africa traveling. He says, I'm the God. I am God. And that's the only attitude you can have when you ain't eating no food and you're traveling all over Africa teaching about just getting your nourishment from the sun. He says, I am God. And I'm like believing him. And I'm like, yeah, and I'm the goddess here. So we can raise even that belief of being a part of being conscious of your divine self, because the kingdom's within, and then knowing the Most High part of us, and we're not separated. And two, I am creator of and part of a big ocean of water. That's who we are. Peace and love from Prince Nuriel. Peace and love, shalom. And Dario Crickshark or Shark Shank Cruikshank. That's an interest. Dario, where in the world did you get that name from? Cruikshank. Peace be with you. That I would love to have a conversation with you just about your name. That is so interesting. And then Wesley A. Gray, false eyelashes as well. Thank you. The whole picture. False hair, false eyelashes, false nails, false hair. The clothing, polyester is also false. Polyester, the plastic. We are covered in plastic. People out there are covered in plastic. So we cannot expect truth to come out of them, for one. We cannot expect consciousness to come out of people. And so what do? We observe without judgment. And just as you did, Chief, listening to people today, you discern, no judgment. You discern, okay, these people on a whole nother level. It's not my level. And so I'm exiting stage right today and moving on to the next group of people who are in consciousness and unity, harmony. And Wesley Gray says many of the elders had processed dyed hair. Yeah, they did, thus not being able to fulfill the teaching required to pass on the teaching. Yeah. We have such an interesting history of our ancestors and their struggles. And I had, my mother was an alcoholic, but at some point I see her with love now. Oh, I have such love for my mother. And I used to be sad about her, the journey I had with her because I didn't get the nurturing. She was alcohol, blah, blah, blah. But I see her with love because I don't know what her childhood was like. I have no idea. Her father was a pastor. So she was a PK, they call preacher's kid. So, and then it was just so much about her life that I didn't understand, that now I see her, now that she's an ancestor, I have nothing but love for her and see her with love. So, yeah, our ancestors had it rough, but now we can see them with love. If we didn't know what childhood they had, it's all reasonable behavior, whatever they went through. Oh, so copying the entertainment community. Yeah, Beyonce, Mary J. Blige, all of them, nails, hair, and even Serena Williams. I love Serena Williams for being the GOAT of tennis, but she's on a whole nother world with her blonde hair and her, look at me with my blonde hair and and it's a whole nother person. She ain't the GOAT of tennis no more. She's the confused blonde black woman. Oh, so anyway, no judgment. She got the money for it, so do your thing. So somebody says wisdom is not synonymous with age, only sometimes. That's right. That's right. Only sometimes. That's absolutely right. Thank us. And wisdom is not some, okay, so you gotta repeat only some. So what do you say about that, Chief? Wisdom is not synonymous with age, only sometime. Well, you're a perfect example because, as I always say, you have wisdom beyond your years, and so that's why you are in a position to influence and teach the way you do.
Well, they have this saying that you got to take a long walk on a short path, and the short paths is the short amount of time. The long walk is the amount of information that you have to learn in that short period of time. So the way our people learn truly is to remember what you already know. You see that?
Yeah.
Because we are all knowing. You're actually remembering what you already know in a different way in each incarnation. You see that? Through a
Uh,
different personality. So that's how, in our true educational system, that's what initiation is about, to remember. That's what they call learning. And
and
some
we have
people,
no. Go
I
ahead.
was just going to say, some people, um, and the reason it doesn't always equate to gray hair, because some people are 65, 70, 75, and still, have imperfected characteristics within them, to the point where overall they haven't really grown past a teenage immaturity. You know, so some of this is contributed to what they have eaten all their life. So some of it is contributed to just overall lack of knowledge and being blocking out universal knowledge and wisdom because of religion. And I think that, but nowadays, it's a big split that's taking place. Either you are about knowledge itself and wisdom, or you are about stupidity. You see, and that's
Yes,
about
and
it.
Wesley brings out an important point here that the biggest addition was sugar, which accepted and promoted in the church after services and many of the holidays like Halloween, Christmas, weddings, birthdays, etc. Yeah, food has become a drug. It's not, most people are not eating food for nourishment, it's a comfort. And I have a friend who's really suffering right now with cancer, and he's in his 70s, and he grew up in a very abusive home, being beat all the time, and like treated like a slave. No way to develop his authentic spiritual self, and the only love he got was food. His aunt, who was he was given away to from his parents, his aunt could cook like nobody's business. And when he ran away from that household, that abusive household, the police got him. And I'm so glad people are so transparent with me. I can tell all these stories and learn a lot. The police got hold of him, took him to the police station, showed him all the love with, guess what? Donuts. So what do you think is the most comforting food for him in his most of his adult? Donuts. Because you give
See,
somebody a
well,
donut They've been abused and treated badly, and that sugar is like cocaine. That donut was like, "Woo, this feels really good." And you remember that. That's in your memory. That cocaine donut,
Oh.
that's what it is right now. It's like cocaine. That donut is like, woo. And that's what people are on right now. Drugs, cocaine drugs with sugar. So thank you, Wesley. That's a reminder. No judgment, because we're all addicted to some form of sweets, but some of us are off the chain with it, and snorting every day with the donuts and whatever else comes along that's in sugar form. So
Yeah,
go ahead.
I'm just saying our people are addicted to sugar.
Yes.
Pastas, breads, all this processed food turn into glucose, and or addicted to like what they say carbohydrates. But when you look at our ancestral lifestyle and the lifestyle of the wisest of the wise, they eat very little carbohydrates. Their diet consists mostly of running off fats, you know, and the nutrients from vegetables and fruits and some of the grains. You see that? Some women, their bodies work very well when they eat a lot of fruit, vegetable, and a little grain. Brothers' bodies work very well when they eat grain, vegetables, and a little fruit. You see? So the flowering plants really help the lower part of the woman's body, because like a tree, you have this. The flower part of the tree is on the top, the stem, and then the roots. If you turn it upside down, the roots work with the upper part of the body, the stem, the mid part of the body, and the flowering part, which is the top of the tree, works with the lower part of the body. And the woman has a lot going on down there, with the ovaries, the vagina, and uterus, and all this, different things like that, which is very important for her to really stay in tune with her spirituality and stay aligned with the planetary systems and so forth and so on. So her body is very sensitive.
Yeah, and I gave up bread. I haven't had any bread in a while. In 2 weeks, I have so much energy and less inflammation because bread is full of glyphosates, and Monsanto has made sure that we get a lot of their product on our food, our grains. So if you, for me, I knew the bread, and I was buying organic sourdough bread from the grocery store. This is a bread that Publix here makes, organic sourdough bread. And I still was feeling like, man, it's kind of sluggish. And I love sourdough bread, organic. But when I gave it up, boy, I've noticed a huge difference in my energy level. So that's the state we're in the United States. Now you go to other countries and they say the food tastes different. That's why R.F. Kennedy Jr. is trying to really work on the food aspect of Human Health Service, whatever, because they've been trying to poison Bill Gates and all of them been trying to poison us for a while now, and we all waking up. You better off fasting, intermittent fasting, like one meal a day, because all the food is kind of corrupt unless you're growing it in your own yard. You don't know what you're getting in this food, especially if
Yep.
it's in a box. So we have to be really discerning about what goes in the mouth and what comes out of it. It's all one big hole. So who did
That's
I
right.
stagnant?
Like I
Go,
said before, hmm?
go ahead.
I'm sorry,
I said,
I'm
go ahead.
just saying that. Okay, I was just saying that our people are addicted to glucose sugar, and another thing, they're addicted to just eating overall, and that's something that has to be broken, and that's why a lot of our people, they don't have any energy. A lot of the issues amongst us as a people are not complicated. They're very simple. They're very simplex issues. You know, what to eat and what not to eat. It's not a complicated thing. You can explain that. You can give somebody instructions on what to eat, what not to eat in 15 minutes. That's it. If you explain it well in 15 to 20 minutes, that's it. And if they listen, they'll never have to worry about any kind of sickness for the rest of their life. You see? But of course, our people like to complicate things. They like to complicate things whether it's making excuses for what or why they're eating what they eat, or people who are complicating things just to get money out of people. Because it's very, very simple that you should only eat fruits, vegetables, and grains. You may have to add some meats in the form of or organic meats or farm raised or whatever you call it, because we have deteriorated bodies. Now, it just depends on the person. Everybody's body is not the same. Everybody has a different. Everybody's centered different. You see, so you know, it's not the sugar is bad. It's the type of sugar that people are eating. It's the foods that they're putting in the body that are turning into these certain types of sugars. Another thing is you shouldn't be eating more than once a day. That's the absolute no. You should not eat more than once a day. A lot of people are addicted to having food on their stomach. You see, and that's why people are sitting down in front of the TV just looking this like they zombies, or they get in the car. It's always pounding music. It's like another thing is they're not that organized. You have to have all your days of the week organized out. Everything written out, what you're going to do on Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. If you don't, then you don't have a plan. You don't have any progress. Some people are satisfied with just coming on podcasts like this and just listening to us talk about the deep thing, you see, and that's it. That's a big issue. We call intellectual masturbation or intellectual junkies. That's it. That's something that we got to stop doing too.
Yeah.
So,
A quick answer here. Godly Expression says, how do you stop overeating, or what can help with addictions to food or sweet? One of the things I promote is EFT, emotional freedom techniques. So if you want to learn more about that, go to my website, yourholisticlifecoach.com, or talk with Chief about emotional eating. That's what overeating is, emotional eating. And so EFT taps into your meridians on your face and your body, and your words express what you're feeling about this overeating. Even though I'm overeating, I love myself. And it's a whole process. It's a discipline to work on your overeating and your addictions to food, because it's deeply rooted in your childhood traumas, I believe. So we got a lot of people coming on, but I've been told I should wrap it up soon. So we're gonna a lot of violence. Let me just this one is important, I think. He says a lot of Wesley Gray Jr., a lot of violence in the family, maybe because many in our family had pre-diabetes. What? That found out can be a precursor to violent behavior or insulting and passive aggression to our family, friends, coworkers combined at the functional and extreme. Alcohol addiction, you eventually have as dysfunctional. That's a lot to take in, Wesley. So we'll have to cover that on another. I think when we talk about truth, that's partly true, I think, but I think it's deeper. Every ACE's adverse childhood experiences explains just about every bad habit and proud challenges we have as adults. So I think you have to look at your relationships coming out of the womb. And here's another deeper, your relationship in the womb. If your mother was depressed while she was pregnant, guess what? That energy carried right into your little baby cells, and so much more. If you had women who were beaten up by the father when they were pregnant, guess what? You probably got a lot of fear when you came out of that womb. So it helps to meditate. Again, what we promote here, meditation will help you get to the root of a lot of the challenges that you have as an adult. Black root sign. Water can be said the same way, one molecule from poisonous substance. So much likeness is not a good example. Sugar is a misused substance, right? Yeah, absolutely. So we got a very knowledgeable crowd here. That's a repeat. And then water. Okay, so we are got to wrap it up for now, and I hope to be back next Tuesday. But I'm on every Friday morning, health and well-being with Viyahta. I'm going to be talking a lot about this case, a little bit about this case where the young man stabbed his student, fellow student, and why that happened, and how we can avoid that, and as well as talking more about the flax plant and how it can really save us if we tap into it. So, Chief, you have any final words you want to say?
Nothing. Just be about what you talk about. That's it. And Amana Village is really growing, really growing. It's becoming very organized, and I think that we have a very, very bright future. That's it.
Yeah, we do if we turn the TV off and stop. I say stop being influenced by the world, the matrix. That is so key. So we want to tune in right now as we go to beautiful, deep African meditation. We want to begin and end with this because it's really evolution is the solution, and that involves meditation to get in, to go into your inner self and learn what the kingdom is really saying to you, and spending nature, get out in nature. So, to all my yogi friends out there, we want to say namaste and satnam and